So if you already know that it's going to happen, why do you have to bite into it? Why can't you just find a solution that doesn't have to end up like that, right? I think that's what a martial artist is supposed to do. The thing about being in FMA, in martial arts, I think in all martial arts, you can recognize a hostile engagement before it happens. I think that's an instinct that you learn only from constant training, sparring, maybe, and other things. But I think in FMA, it's distinct because in FMA, you learn to do it with weapons. Dealing with a knife and dealing with an empty hand, let's just say that the knife has a bit of a different flavor. I noticed that a lot more people are scared of knives than they are of guns. A gun is impersonal. It sounds scary. People know it's dangerous, but at the same time, it doesn't give you the same fear factor as somebody bringing out a live blade because you know that it's going to hurt. So I think the awareness of just before the person brings out that knife can help avert potential problems, catastrophes. So you'll know when somebody is actually getting to be hostile. You'll know when maybe you become sensitive to what can actually make a situation worse. I think
Sensitivity to violence?
yes, or sensitivity to aggression, conflict. So the idea here is, as a martial artist, you know what can make a person aggressive. You'll have that innate. The senses will just come out and say, maybe if I go this direction, it's not going to be good. Because you've been trained to deal with aggression. Like I have a friend in jiu-jitsu and he said, you know what? People just call this jiu-jitsu, but I would actually call this aggression management. And as a martial artist, your specialization is controlled aggression. You know how to control something that people have a hard time controlling because they want to avoid it all the time. Nobody wants to get into violence. Very rarely have I seen people want it. There are, but it's rare. Because violence is something that makes people uncomfortable by nature, right? It's conflict, it's potential death, it's potential harm. And as a martial artist, you're supposed to be familiar with the unfamiliar. And I think that's the contribution that martial artists actually make. You can actually be the best peacemakers because you're aware of the conflict, what makes the conflict happen, why it happens. And so if you already know that it's going to happen, why do you have to bite into it? Why can't you just find a solution that doesn't have to end up like that, right? I think that's what a martial artist is supposed to do because you're so used to what makes it happen. So you can actually control the outcome by preventing it from happening. I think that is a rare skill. Very few people will have that ability. And I think martial arts, people who are really into it, will have that as part of their system as people. And I think that's something that's an untapped wealth or an untapped skill set. Yeah. Because that's not how people look at martial arts. It's always about the Hollywood, it's sexy to fight. And until you get into a real one, you will realize that fighting is not sexy in any way. Real fighting is ugly, real fighting is a hassle. And I remember one of my first rumbles in UP, and I had a classmate who I didn't know belonged to the opposing fraternity. We got along until we found out that our fraternities were in a rumble. And we only found out on the day of the rumble. And he's like, but the thing is, I was a freshman in the university and we never talked again ever. He did not become my friend anymore. Imagine that wasted relationship. When you got older, after university, that's when life begins, for us at least. Think about it. We could have actually had a lot of productive engagements, right? But because of a violent situation, it was wasted. So would there have been a way to solve it without violence? I'm sure. One thing that I don't know your experience, okay, but with me, the first thing I remembered at sparring is you need to leave your ego at home. I've been beaten by total beginners, especially when you think you're a veteran. I've won this, I've won that, and suddenly I get kicked in the ass by somebody who just started. Do you have the maturity and the balls to accept that, yeah, okay, that guy might be good, it might have been luck, but the point is at the end of the day, he won. Are you man enough to say congratulations and good job? Or will you take it home and say, damn, I feel bad about that, I should have won. So, yeah, I think that when you leave your ego at home and you're used to leaving it at home because you spar a lot, you get into engagements a lot, when a real fight occurs, you have the ability to say, I'm not going to engage, because at the end, everybody loses, right? There's that saying, right? War does not determine who's right, it only determines who's left. So I really believe in that, like, if I can avoid this, I will fight if it means saving somebody's life, if it's an immediate occurrence and there's no other way, then as a martial artist, as a warrior, that's what you're supposed to do. That's one of the things I think FMA, martial artists in general, and maybe FMA guys know, it's putting yourself in your opponent's armor, putting yourself in your opponent's shoes. And that helps in life. So if somebody's really angry, I need to put myself in that person's shoes and say, why is this person mad? Instead of automatically being aggressive and saying, I'm going to put my foot down here. The thing is, of a lot of people I met, rarely can you meet conflict that you can't negotiate. Because in reality, they don't really want to fight. Like what for? Only when you escalate, when somebody pushes to a degree in which it's perceived to be a survival situation, that's when I see it becoming excessive. So now I'm not saying that I'm a peace man, but what I'm saying is I'd rather not fight if I had a choice. Okay, it just wastes everybody's resources, time, gets you into trouble. Yeah.